Yes, I have a few questions. Some of them are easy, some of them are hard. But the idea is also that you can ask whatever you want, either if you feel this is the appropriate moment because it perfectly relates to what we're talking about, or we can open it up in the end. Both are fine. Give me a sign if you want to jump in. So we decided to start with the topic as such, the shared tides. And my question is, when you were small, you both grew up here next to the ocean. Is that something you ever thought about? Being on one side of the ocean, did you ever think about the other side? And if so, why?
So, as kids, all of us would have thought, when we stare at the ocean, we would have all seen that line that separates the sky and the ocean, like what is there in that line? I want to go to that line and see. And also, from my family, there were people who were working in the ship or who were into fishing. So I always had, they used to tell me a lot of stories. And my grandparents who went to fishing in the catamarans, the Kattumaram, so people who went in that, they used to say a lot of stories, how they used to fish when it was pitch dark, how they used to face the waves. So I always had the idea of, I always wanted to see what was that line, how they went. And I've also had heard stories of other countries and how they landed on that. I used to imagine that shore, how it used to look. Here it is like this in my hometown or in my grandparents' place. The place looks like this. How will it look in that place? So that had always been a question.
How about you?
Oh, Katharina, and then I have to rewind now. Thank you. So actually I grew up in Coimbatore, so there was no ocean related place for me. But to say, I had only one chance of coming to Chennai around 2000, I guess, maybe in my 10th standard summer vacation or something. That's the first time I'm coming to Chennai. So I remember that on the whole stretch of the Marina Road, I didn't know that ocean from one stretch. Yeah, I should have seen in maps, but how come I asked my parents? I am not very sure. I was asking, where's the beach? Where's the beach? Why you are not taking me to the beach? We are on the beach. We are driving, and it's where I can't see the beach. So that's the like glimpse of memory I have about the ocean. But when you ask me now, ocean is very fearful for me. After working with the refugee population for like 10 years, and also I studied in Madras University, so my department just faces the Marina Beach. So this ocean is somehow connected, and this project developed during my MA days. So now for me, if you ask, during my childhood, I didn't think of, sure I should have been excited about the vastness of the ocean, but for me, then I should have not thought about the borders and the anxiety that it creates. I didn't think about the other side in a geopolitical sense. But for me now, ocean is fearful very much. After hearing stories from the respondents, when they jump into the seas, when they are thrown out of the seas, you can also hear one audio of the respondent where he speaks to save other people on the boat. When the boat is trying to sink, people throw away people who they think that they will be able to manage to go back to the land. So now it's very fearful for me. It's not fascinating.
Now we already have the scary part of the connect, but I mean the idea of the project originally was to really look at the similarities, which are sometimes also due to political issues overlooked, that all of a sudden you become separate even though you share so much. We all know which topics you picked for your project, but for you personally, what are the commonalities that actually make this like a strong connect between the two sides?
Commonalities, the landscape itself was very similar. I didn't feel like I stepped onto another country. I definitely didn't have the thought. And when I go to meet new person or when I talk to someone, and they'll also be talking in Tamil, and they would sometimes ask, oh, you're India la vandirkingla, you're from India, and I'll be like them like, oh right, I'm Indian. Otherwise people talk Tamil, and the culture, the everyday life, the routine, the way the house is set, it is very much similar to how we see here in Tamil Nadu. Especially the places I went were fully on the regions where Tamil people were living, the north and the east side. It was very similar. And one more similarity I would say is when you go on the buses, when you travel, you listen to all Tamil songs. All Tamil. You will never feel like you are in another country. I enjoyed every journey. Even sometime in Chennai, if we go, sometimes only the private buses play Tamil songs. The MTC buses don't. But there, the government buses, they call it CTV. So I had some kind of personal connect with the CTV because for the whole month we were traveling only on the CTV, because you don't have Uber, you don't have Ola. Maybe in Colombo you have a little bit of Uber, but the only mode of transport you have is the CTV, the red bus. You need to wait for it. You need to see when it is coming. Another similarity I want to say is, especially because of the war, when you see the landscape, you can get a glimpse of the 80s. It reminded me very much of the 80s and 90s of Tamil Nadu. Some places, some villages looked like it's still in the 70s. The advancement that you can see is the advertisement of the mobile phones. Dialogue is the very famous brand there, so you can see Dialogue advertisements. You can listen to TV serials. So that is one advancement, mobile phones and the TV things. But other than that, it's very similar, and in fact it is little behind, I would say. The structure of the houses, everything, the landscape, it is somewhere in the 80s. And while I'm telling this serials, I will go to meet people around around 10 or 11 a.m. They'll all be busy playing, seeing all the Tamil serials on this TV, and after I go there, they would say,
You have to wait.
okay, I will switch it off, no problem, we can sit and talk, and we'll have a chat until the noon, and they'll give me nice food for lunch. Mostly I had my lunch in their own houses, and yes, so these are some similarities that I saw.
Okay, so I would like to mention a few similarities apart from religious, architectural styles and the rituals that both India and Sri Lanka, particularly Tamil Nadu and Sri Lanka, share. I would like to mention few similarities of the radio Ceylon and also about the Hollywood, the KO, Kollywood here in Tamil Nadu. So that was actually when from 60s, 50s, I remember my father saying the drama company which used to travel back and forth to India and Sri Lanka. So it was always the Indian actors, the Indian drama artists who traveled to Sri Lanka. And it was like you take a boat from the borders of Tamil Nadu and reach there in 3 hours, you perform, you stay there for 2 days and then take back a boat and then come. So they shared a kind of this, so from drama it started and then now to films. I feel the similarities is about the visual culture, art and music that's common between both lands.
Now looking at your work, you both have chosen to look at marginalized groups. You at refugees who then had to go back, some voluntarily, some less voluntarily, so that's a very unique group. And you've chosen to speak to elderly people who are also often overlooked in mainstream conversation as voices. Was that a conscious choice both of you made, or was there another connect that made this project so interesting for you?
My choice, I would say, is completely personal. My project itself is personal. It is an extension of something that I was already doing. It was a search for something that I was already doing here. I wanted to listen to more stories. I want to. My grandfather, grandmother, both of them, they're really, I don't know, mostly even all the people that I met, they are really great storytellers. Like, you can sit for hours and listen to them. You won't get bored. You won't get distracted. The way they narrate it, the way they tell the stories, it is very engaging. So, since it was the extension, I always liked listening to the stories. So yeah, that is the reason I chose to talk to them. And one person, she is not here with the work, but she actually was very happy that I'm doing this project. First of all, when I entered her house, I was a complete stranger. A person who knew her took her there, and he said, this person is doing something like this. She's meeting older person. She's talking. She was made it. First sit. I'm really happy that you are doing this, and thank you for doing this, because these people, they want to tell their stories to someone. They want to talk to someone, and you doing this as a project, I think it will make them happy at least. That's the bare minimum that you can give to them because of this. So she thanked me for that, and it was very overwhelming moment for me. Yeah, so that's the thing.
Okay, mine was definitely a conscious choice. I decided that I'll work on this project. So when my UG, PG assignments were given for a short paragraph or a single page, so initially I started with working with the Boom Boom Matakarar community, and then with the snake charmers here. So in Tambaram there's a whole community, snake charmers community, so I was working. And when I told my professor that I am interested in working with the photographs and family narratives, then he said, then you should go deep into this. And then from 2008 I started working on this broader area, and I thought this kind of work will acknowledge the people, and also it will be for the people who have been overlooked. I think my work will be a form to bring out their unheard voices. So that's how I decided I will work with this people.
And do they all know that it's also going to be shown in Jaffna at some point?
Yeah.
They all know?
Yeah. They very much
come?
know.
Yeah, I'm planning to bring some of them, because most of them are from Jaffna, like people here. So I've been trying to contact them, and mostly they are people I went through a contact, people whose own grandmothers and grandfathers I met. So they said I really want them to come and see their story on a video, like playing.
For me, I should say they were not interested in the Jaffna show, they were interested in the Chennai show. They are like, I want to come there. When you say you're from Chennai, it reminds me of the place here. I should come there. Let it be here, but I want to come there and see the show there. So that kind of narration was there. They were not interested in the exhibition in Jaffna.
Okay. We've already spoken, you got food and Tamil film songs, and you got a lot of. When you were working or when you were traveling in Sri Lanka, were there any things that you didn't expect, any surprises, anything that completely caught you by surprise, or did you completely feel at home all the time and it was just an extension of your work here?
Okay, so I've been answering everything for the first time, like maybe you
Smart.
Thank you. Okay. So, any surprising incident? I thought I was dressing in a Jaffna kind of style, because I was informed when two participants decided to reach Colombo, the Kalam or the Goethe Institute in Colombo all gave us details that you should come in a Tamil attire, not that
They
Indian.
ask us not to wear t-shirts or jeans,
You should be very. That's how you can approach the respondents. You don't show that you are from a different place. That also invites attention. So I thought I was like I was a Jaffna girl. That was my intention. But whenever I go sit in a bus stop or wherever I go, Akka, India va? Chennai ya? That's the first question they ask me. So it's not just one person. I've feared it from everyone. So then after a point of time, I'll be like, Ama nan Chennai danga vandirkingla. Have you been there? That's how. So everyone that I met there, everyone had some tie-up here in India. It may be they are doing some trade, or there's relation, or they have been in refugee camps, they have been repatriated, or some part of the family is still here. So that connection is always there. So that was very surprising for me. How come every family has some connection to India?
And do you know what gave you away in the first place? How did they spot you as from Chennai?
I'm not so sure. That's a very difficult question. Maybe sure the language, because you immediately respond saying ama, and there it's always om. So this ama, it will come automatically. Even when I don't speak also they recognize. So that's what I want to know. So that's what surprised me.
It was quite the opposite for me actually. People thought I was Sri Lankan Tamil. I don't know. Many people said, even in the flight when I was coming back to Chennai, somebody tapped me on my shoulder and asked, "Are you from Sri Lanka, from Jaffna?" And even in the immigration, they stopped me. They made me speak in Tamil. The immigration officer, he made me speak in Tamil to make sure I was Indian. So first I answered in English. I was like, "Apura Sri Lanka eppadi irundhuchu enna paathinga?" So he wanted to check this accent that I had. So it was quite opposite for me. And the surprise on my journey, more than surprise, I had many heartwarming moments there. So to meet these people, I was a stranger, and I didn't want to randomly, I did go somewhere to certain places and randomly told people that I am from India, I'm working with people like this. But I was also quite scared to approach. So I mostly went with a contact. Someone who I got a contact there, they looked me into some other person. That's how I went in. So I went to Mullivaikar. It's a new place. Randomly, the person who was supposed to help me, he got into some emergency. He couldn't come. And he called some other girl and he said, this person is here, can you just take her to meet somebody whoever she's asking. So I don't know who even this girl is. I was waiting for 45 minutes there in a hotel. I had my breakfast and I was waiting. She came in a scooter and she said, Akka, my house is nearby. Can we just go and wait there for some time and I'll take you to meet someone. And I went to her house. It was a beautiful house and she had so many puppies and so many dogs. She picks up, even that time she gave me one carton in my hand. There was a stray kitten inside. And she had taken the kitten to the veterinary doctor and she was getting her back. She was like, we'll just go drop her at my place and then go meet somebody. And then she took me to meet the postmaster whom you see in the third picture. In my project, I had certain constants, certain people who I definitely want to meet, and one of them is a postmaster. Because that era, it was full of letters. Letters were the mode of communication. So she took me to meet him, and only while I was talking to him, she did her veterinary jobs in between, and she came back. And I went back to her house. We met another person, and I had a bus to catch to go to another very remote village. And I had the only bus. It was around 1:10 or something. If I miss it, that's all. I have to stay at her place, or I don't know where else to stay. And I was meeting another person. She was quite late. I was getting a little anxious, if I miss the bus, what will happen? And she came back, she picked me up from the place, she took me to the bus stop. and she handed over parcel to me. It was a very big parcel with it was covered with vada plantain, and when and she said, "Akka, சாப்பாடு வச்சிருக்கேன், சாப்பாடு பண்ண அதனால லேட் ஆயிடுச்சு வரதுக்கு, கவலைப்படாதீங்க, இந்த மெயின் ரோட்ல தான் பஸ் போகும், நம்மளை தாண்டிலாம் போகாது, நான் ஏற்றி விட்டுருவேன் எப்படியா அப்படின்ட்டு." So she handed over and she said, "The bus will stop in only one place when you go, and that's what they don't serve good food, so I've given you food." I was so, it was overwhelming for me, and I was like, did you cook for me so fast? And we didn't have so much time. It was in between 10 and 12:30 p.m. I met two people. She went back and forth. She left me. She made me meet two people. She also cooked the food. She brought it to me, and I somehow got it. Just like she said, the bus stopped in that place, and there was only one more people were just like, "Oh, the food is not good here. Let's just wait for the bus to leave." And when I opened the parcel, it had crab curry, crab curry, rice, brinjal, and one more kootu. She made a full meal and she had packed it so beautifully. And that young woman, she fed me that day, and for the rest of my life, I would not forget that. So that is a very emotional story that I have from there.
So a bit more technicalities. I mean, CPB is lens-based, but also photography basically. And in the beginning, when we did the open call, we were kind of assuming that lots of photographers want to do lots of photography projects, which, as we all can see, is not so much the case. And also the two of you have chosen to do multimedia project. You do have photography as part of it, but you didn't focus on it. What made you choose this format for your work?
Okay, yeah, I'm going first. Kiran. Okay. As already I've mentioned, I wanted to do it as an audio project because I was thinking on the audience perspective, because I wanted to have the same engagement experience that I had with the respondents should also reach people across. So I thought an audio, and it's also important, now we are realizing it very late, that we have not recorded enough oral histories. So I thought my work should be a recording of their own voices, so that it also tends to be an oral history and also give the audience that immersive kind of feeling. One. Second, I decided to go for the audio because I thought that to maintain the anonymity, I can't go for a video or any other medium, and for the narration, for the storytelling, and also to keep up with the anonymous of the respondent, I decided to do a multi-model kind of project. So that's the reason.
The reason I went for video is the accent. So you can sit and listen to the way they speak for hours and hours. Such beautiful accent, and you need to follow, in fact. So and just like in Tamil Nadu we have like Coimbatore accent, we have Tirunelveli accent, in Chennai we have an accent. There, for us, as a whole, it can sound like Sri Lankan Tamil. But even there, in Jaffna, they speak a kind of Tamil, and in Mullaitivu and in the Vanni region, they speak a Tamil, and in Vetikalo, it's quite different. So I wanted a record of the language. Even the people who are of my age that I met, they said, even our Tamil is quite changed, because we watch a lot of YouTube from Tamil Nadu. We watch all the movies. So we have also started using the words that you use. But that generation, the language is the proper language. So I wanted a record of that language. I wanted a record of the accent. And that is the main reason I went for a video, along with the photographs. So this is why I chose that.
So announcement for you, this is the last question I have. So you have exactly one more question to think about your own questions that you might want to ask. Good. I mean, this whole project, unfortunately, we only have the two of you here today. Tilakshan and Lojitan will be there for the opening in Jaffna. But it was a residency. You were not together at the same time, but it was kind of you visited each other. You get to know each other while doing the research project. How did this exchange, or how does it reflect in your work, or how did it maybe also change what you were researching? And then now whoever wants to go first.
Last question.
So I would say they are the starting point of my work. I applied for this, but Sri Lanka is totally new for me. I didn't know anything. I didn't even know the education structure. Here we have 10th, 11th and 12th. There it is O level, A level. It is different. So only with Tilakshan and Lojitan, I got to learn the country. I got to learn the life they are living, the lifestyle, the landscape, everything. So I thought they will be coming and they will be doing their project and we'll be going after that. But soon after they came, we all went for a trip to Mahabalipuram, all the four of us, and that's it. There we all bonded so well, and we were all traveling together with their work. So they wanted to meet few people in Tanjavur, they wanted to meet a few people here in Chennai also. I happened to travel with Tilakshan a lot for his work here in Chennai and everywhere. And I met a lot of people for his project, and most of them are old people. So I also got to know, it gave me a lot of insights before I was able to start my work. So technically they are our seniors for the work. I always say that like, you people are our seniors. So that time that they spent here and the time we spent with them, it gave a lot of insight into the work that we are going to do. And it was the starting point of the knowledge that I wanted to gain before I started my work.
So actually, our residency for both of us, it began in August. I would say it was not a month residency, it was 2 months residency for us. July in Chennai, August in Sri Lanka. So the moment they arrived, the next day when we had a meeting here in CPB, from the next day onwards it was like, come here, come there, we are coming here, you should go, we should meet people. So it was a 2-month residency. I told them, see, I have blocked only August for this residency and you have completely ruined my schedule. And they were like, no, it's okay, but you have to do it. And the same way they were there for us. Lojitan was in Colombo, so whenever I had chances of visiting to Colombo, because I was there for the Malay Tamil community's 200th year exhibition, I was there. So I also landed in Colombo. So Lojitan was the only person who took care, and also Lojitan was there for me. In Jaffna, we had Tilakshan. From landing, from actually picking me from the train to back, taking me to the bus, he was there. So I was glad this residency not only gave me knowledge, because I think Tilakshan and Lojitan are more experienced as exhibitors, as visual artists than me. So I had an opportunity to learn from them. Apart from the knowledge, I think that I've gained 2 relations. No? This residency has given me that bond. So I'm happy that this residency happened. So that's how I relate to this residency.
I have one question. You said that you had seen places that resembled Tamil Nadu in the 70s, other places in the 80s, and still other places in the 90s. Then, in other words, at one particular time, you have, maybe in a period of 1 month, you have been through the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. What do you feel is the impact after that experience? Is the impact of, what should I say, modernity and overall in our life?
Okay. I would say it was much more simpler there I liked that way of living. It was simpler, and you only have limited options for certain things. You don't have many options. You don't get to choose a lot. You don't have Swiggy. You don't have. I definitely loved that kind of living. And the reason I chose this project itself is I seriously wish I lived in that era. When I listen to their stories, rather than, I don't know, maybe I am an old soul by myself, but I truly wish I lived in that era, and this project gave me an opportunity to live in that era and also with the people who lived in that era. And not just to romanticize, but also to say there they need more advancement. This is what I'm saying, but
What do you mean by advancement?
advancement as in terms of the technology they have now is the internet, the mobile phones. Fibernet is just getting in, especially in the Tamil region, I'm saying, in the north. So they need even more advancement in terms of transport and other things. You can easily cross the road. It's very, it's not much populated. So the advancement that I am seeing, as Subthiga said, the Tamil cinema influence there. There are no independent, like movies are not made there. There are no producers there. Only the films that are made here is having a direct influence to that place. So here we have people like women of cinema talking about all the things in films. We are yet to start a conversation there, and we are having conversations here about this film. We are critiquing. We are having a lot of critics about the film. There we are yet to start that. So as a country who is having a direct influence on them, we need to be even more responsible on making everything. The modernization that is happening there now is photography, especially the wedding photography that we are doing. And they are also having direct impact from the diaspora who are living, outside Sri Lanka, who are living in the foreign countries. And one more thing is makeup artistry. These two things, it's directly from the social media, it has impacted the country. These two are the modern things that is prevalent. This is what I observe from overall. Whichever small town or village you enter, there will be a makeup school, there will be one photography studio, and they do very similar, the conventional and the trend, especially that's the word, the trendy photography that we do here. We are the influencers for them. We and also the diaspora, we are the influencers. So I wish more independent films and more movies are made from Sri Lanka, so that their own stories come out and we see the true stories, rather than we are directly influencing them through our commercial movies and things like that.
As a follow-up, what do you feel? I mean, isn't it some sort of a homogenization taking place because of the improvement in communication, homogenization of all the cultures rather than diversity? Are we losing the diversity?
I won't say we are losing the diversity, but this is the particular impact, and so the country, they haven't. It's quite behind because of the war. So only after 2010 they are coming fresh out of the war. They are in a shock, and they get freedom. They can move around. There won't be any bombing, or they can move around for a bit. And what is the modernity that I'm seeing now is what we are doing here. It is not organic. It is like a sudden surge of modern things. So which is why I'm saying these are the direct impact that has hit. The social media is having a direct impact.
Hi, my name is Shreya. I'm an arts management consultant. And one of the jobs that I have to do as a consultant is give people advice. So I want to ask all three of you, either when you started this project or during the project, what is the best piece of advice someone gave you? If that includes you.
I'm last.
Think for a moment. So I took it as a responsibility on myself, because I am not a person from Sri Lanka. I'm going there, and it's a huge responsibility. I am showing stories of people from there. I can't misrepresent until the day of execution. Even now, right before you were all entering, to talk, to express what I want to feel, that anxiety is still inside me. So the advice that I got was maybe not take it like, because I was so anxious. So the advice that I got was don't be so anxious. The one advice that I always got from my boyfriend was, he said, your heart is in the right place, so go do it. So that's one advice that I got.
So for me, advice was, I'm just thinking, nobody actually gave me an advice because they already knew I am working on this subject. So I think, to tell you the truth, I've got some warnings from the Kalam and the Gote Institute at Colombo to come prepared to be there in Sri Lanka for a month. But I didn't have any warning or advice from my family or my colleagues. No, actually no.
Actually, Subthiga, we should mention this as the advice, not to dress, to gel with the people. Dress,
No, Sri Lanka is very modern in dressing. So it's not about the modernity that they were warning us. They are far modern. Even the grandmothers that you visit, they'll be awesome to say. So it's not about the modernity. They said to be not gather attention, you have to gel with the people so that there's no hindrance to the project. So that's the advice.
I'm not going to do an advice, but I'm going to do a learning of this project, if that's fine. Because I think we as like organizers completely underestimated it. Like I said in the beginning, we do lots of like German kind of connect thing, and that we have figured out. So we thought, okay, we're doing something local, so things are like locally gonna fall into place. And that was like very wrong. For example, we didn't from the beginning got everything professionally translated. Part of our team speaks Tamil, not all of us do. And then we had lots of meetings where it went like back and forth, and at some point someone said like, let's do a Tamil translation, and then poor Geeta or Manalini would translate I don't know what, but we didn't have this like institutionalized from the beginning, that we said like we need to do everything in both languages, we need to react to the text in both languages equally fast. We kind of assumed that this is just gonna go, and that was, I think for me, that was like one of the biggest learning, that the fact that it's closer doesn't really mean it's less complicated or it needs less preparation. I actually think it would have needed more preparation on our side, but since it's a learning, it's too late for that now. Any other question? Yes, please.
I have a question. My name is Aksla. I am an anthropology student, sociology and social anthropology student from DISS Guwahati. So I'm in my final years, and we have been studying about like our subjects goes around post-migration, internal displacement, peace and reconciliation, and things like that. So all the syllabuses and things we have is about Pakistan borders, or East Pakistan borders, West Pakistan borders, Bengal borderlands, and things like that. And personally, I am from Kerala. I live in Chennai. I have lived all my life in Chennai. So my identity is also a very dual identity of being in the coast of West and coast of East. So my works or my interests are rooted majorly in Malabar coast. I come from Malabar. So this coast, or the Coromandel coast, the shared ties between Sri Lanka and Tamil Nadu is something that I never had or an opportunity to learn about. Or I guess like wherever I study in my syllabus or things like that, people are very ignorant about
Thank
tired, but I'm so glad, I'm so grateful that
Thank you. Thank you.
I actually have something to add to your research that you're doing. So, just like Tamil people were going to Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka has roots of Kerala a lot. I visited a Buddhist temple in Padurai. It's a mountain region. The architecture there was more like the Tharavadu, the traditional architecture, the Malayalam, the Kerala architecture. And there are also places called Malayalapuram. So people who came from Kerala who all lived in the region. In Kilinochi there is a region called Malayalapuram. So while I was doing this project only, I met many people, and the cuisine is very similar to Kerala cuisine. Very, very similar. The coconut milk based and the idiyappam, the puttu, everything was very similar to Kerala cuisine. So I was seeing this, and I don't see many. This project itself, we learned a lot because we crossed over. We learned a lot. So I really want people to go. Even the architecture students, they want to go. We need to do more crossovers. We need to visit each other's country and see what all even more shared connections we have, the histories we have. Like ma'am and TS were doing this about the fabrics and the prints. So many is there to explore, to be explored.
And I would like to add a point. Particularly, the education system in Jaffna was like it was teachers from the Malabar coast. So from 40s, the teachers who came from Malabar coast stayed, they educated and then went back. So looking at the education systems, the catalogs, you will see all are from Kerala. All were based from Kerala, and there's a research on this. Maybe I've written down the researcher's name, maybe I could help you with that. There's a book also.
I'll add a small thing to this and I'll wind up. I guess like when last the textile, the conversation that was happening, we talked a lot about Portuguese and Dutch
Influences.
colonization happened there and things like that, how the travelers had come from that place. I guess Kerala has a similar, it's a very strong there. And Kannur, the place where I am from, was very rich in Netherlands travelers coming there and things like that happening. So I guess that is also the root where it comes from. Thank you so much for this information as well. I was love to read.
Thank you.
So now okay. We actually do have the film now that you were promised in the beginning, which is one of the films from Kiranmayi's project. And since it's so difficult to hear, there are lots of people, we wanted you to have the occasion to see one of it on the big screen. And that would be the official end. So if I may, I would ask you for a round of applause for our artist. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Katharina.
Thank you, Katharina. தெரியாம